Hello.
Welcome back.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Megan.
You're listening to the Synchronicity Podcast, where we change your brain to change your life. We pretty much tell you about things that you most likely were not taught in childhood and flip them on their heads and teach you a new way to become a autonomous adult and do better than your parents did. If you want to know more information, you can binge all of our content. We talk a lot about baselines of what we do. A lot of it is really based in Carl Jung and Dr. Eric Burns' philosophies, really stepping out of Freudian theory to give you a entire new perspective of life.
Yeah, it's a great time.
It is. If you want to work with us, you can apply at synchronicity222.com, or you can check out what we do over on our website. And if you want more information, you can always reach out to us at synchronicity_sisters on Instagram. And one of us will get back to you within 48 hours. So
That's a big promise.
it's usually 48 hours.
Okay.
Do we respond to people?
I mean, let Nicole rephrase that. When she's in charge, she gets back to you in 48 hours. I am not great at that, and I realize it's one of my character defects.
Yeah, but usually on Instagram, we respond within 48 hours.
Nope.
Okay, well, I respond to you in 48 hours. Megan, maybe 2 weeks. If you're lucky.
That's not how much serotonin I have at the time.
It depends what, projector cycle she's in. Whether she's sleeping or she's doing. She's in her zone. That's usually what happens.
Depends on how much everyone's drained me that day.
Yeah,
Or
that's
that
what I'm
week.
saying. Whether you're in projector land or you're in, fuck off everybody land, and you're, recharging in your cave. That's what makes life. We just let her ebb and flow in her projector energy, because it's gnarly to be a projector. No offense. Great, but you guys your energy, it doesn't exist.
I've been doing pretty good lately.
Yeah, but there's ebb and flows to all of it.
Oh, speaking of flow, nap time.
See? She's already ready for a nap.
I think it's also just winter when it's cold. I think no matter what energy type you are, it's just naturally more tired.
But I have found if I feed her enough coffee and enough kombucha in the fridge, we keep her running for a decent amount of time.
Okay.
All right.
Enough about
Projectors.
our weirdness. Today we're going to talk about norepinephrine
In the brain.
in the brain, which is a neurotransmitter. And it has to do with dopamine. If you haven't read Dopamine Nation, go read about Dopamine Nation.
Book is gnarly.
If you want to know about alphas have
A lot
fucked
of
up
it.
dopamine receptors in their brains. That's why most of them are addicts.
Diagnose ADHD, ADD, addicts, you name it.
It's all dopamine.
All the
It's-
things.
I won't receptors because you get a dopamine hit, but I think the majority of our culture, which is in dopamine nation, has a fucked up relationship with dopamine. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a fucked up relationship with dopamine hits, then you have what's called a norepinephrine addiction, or you're addicted to pain. And you've heard us say this before. There's no pain addicts, and then there's pain addicts.
We did
and
a whole
they
podcast on that.
usually end up getting married. Well, pain addicts are addicted to norepinephrine or fight or flight, right? They're empaths. They're trying to fix everything. They're like the people that are constantly like, what do I do next? Or they're driving around flipping people off because they're rageaholics. Worked with some of those.
They're my favorite.
You're addicted to pain. Everybody needs strokes, right? And there's pain strokes and there's pleasure strokes. If you were raised in pain strokes, you're addicted to pain strokes. You will either become an alcoholic or you will become a pain addict. And not just an alcoholic, drug addict. You'll become a no pain addict, which is substance abuse. Or you will become a pain addict, which is the enabler to the substance abuse. And you will debt or work out too much or anorexic, bulimic, blah, 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 pain addicts. And you look for pain. That's why you will try to fight with your partner. You're on a power trip. You are seducing with guilt and shame. You're passive aggressive. You intimidate with fear. You have no idea what negotiation is. You don't know how to use your voice. Everybody's
Pretty much a volatile
ego dystonic.
hotness.
You're having a party. So norepinephrine addiction is huge in our culture, and you really see it in women after the age of 40.
Yeah, and it's really prominent in women, especially after 40. If you haven't dealt with your trauma or even like started looking at it, you don't have tools. You automatically, what happens is these receptors in your brain, the norepinephrine in the brain really like gets ramped up. Everybody has norepinephrine, but it's like it just full throttle at that point once you hit around the age of 40 in women. And so ideally what that is, when you break it down chemically, it's fight or flight response. Like we've all met that woman that is just like constantly bracing for impact, or it's always worst case scenario. Like it's not like, oh, maybe the trash didn't come because it's a holiday. It's the trash guy died in a car accident on his way to the neighborhood. Like it's so severe and almost so irrational. It's always worst case scenario. A lot of times,
bracing,
yeah, it's like bracing. You see it a lot with moms who become hypochondriacs with their children.
Helicopter
moms, always telling the child what to do, how to do it, what to wear, when to wear it, all that stuff. And what is really happening is that it's just a high level of not only fight or flight, but it's a high level of anxiety in the brain. And normally the average human, like we have to have a little bit of anxiety in the brain to be able to sustain everyday life, to function.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, you have to have anxiety in the brain. It keeps the brain healthy. It allows for the neural networks to be contacting and communicating correctly. Anxiety is actually what on brain scans, what is showing is anxiety in the brain when neurotransmitters are going off. So the bottom line is that once you hit that 40, it's full throttle and now you're in fight or flight. So you're either just in this state of everything is worst case scenario, it's everyone's fault. And a lot of times what happens is you collapse into severe victimhood. And like Meg said earlier, you start to see women becoming high, like this is when normally women will start being on SSRIs, antidepressants, a higher level of alcohol consumption, pill popping, stuff like that, because they didn't start addressing the trauma prior to 40. And so now it's like full, like high level anxiety and stress in the brain.
Yeah. So this is when you see like women that go into this. This is when you see a woman that has been in her masculine her whole life. She doesn't understand how to regulate her nervous system or how to take care of herself, how to be, right? She's in constant do, go. And it's about at 40 where the body starts to break down, right? She's starting to age. She has adrenal fatigue because our adrenals are, right, they're part of the process of fight or flight. She's waking up at 3 a.m., can't sleep. Like she's not regulated. And this is the price that women pay for being in their masculine. These women are usually single, or they've gone through a very stressful divorce. They don't have a lot of oxytocin in their life, so their brain is deprived of oxytocin. It's deprived of pleasure strokes. So she's constantly looking for pain strokes to be high all the time. And if she's not getting external strokes, then she's self-medicating, like Nicole was saying, and her brain is just in a constant state of fight or flight. And she starts to almost be kind of manic in a way. And it's really, we see it a lot in our society, and it's like women almost go crazy at the age of 40. And it's because, women's kind of kryptonite is vanity and men's kryptonite is egotism. So at 40, we're realizing we're aging, we're losing our power over men, if you don't have a healthy relationship with the masculine, realizing that you're worth more than just how you look, you're going to start self-destructing because of that vanity. You see women start getting a lot of plastic surgery, a lot of injections, start to really kind of go cuckoo at 40 if they don't have a good relationship with their feminine. And it's just like high stress, high anxiety, go. And that's just it's a woman trying to be a man. And she's actually a feminine core. She's never, trusted a man. She's never felt safe with a man. She doesn't know how. She wants a man that leads her. She wants to be safe, but she doesn't know how to follow. These are very atypical alpha women. And it was what Nicole and I were headed towards until we found this work. And we work with a lot of women that are like this, having to take them out of this cycle of pain, and it's not even pain because pain is non-negotiable. It's actually she's suffering. And it's very, very common in our society, in our culture. Single moms especially are going to go into this. If you're a single mom, it's extremely, extremely important for you to take care of yourself and regulate your nervous system, because your children's nervous system is actually regulated through yours, and it will adapt to your vibration and your nervous system. So norepinephrine it's just wild how many women we see, and eventually you're going to get sick. That's why after 40, breast cancer rates,
ovarian, cervical.
Yeah, like all of these cancers and diseases start to pop up because you're really seeing what norepinephrine, high stress, fight or flight constantly does to the body. The adrenals may even fail. You're having kidney problems, liver problems. All of a sudden you're aging way faster.
Your skin is sagging. You don't have collagen production.
Yeah. And, it's, the thing is that we all age. We all, it's part of this acceptance of aging, and our worth is not just in the physical. And I think that women have been really programmed into being such men that because we only value things with our eyes, we think men only value things with their eyes, and neither one are true. Of course, men's main sex organ is their eyes, but they fall in love with feminine energy. So, or virtue or kindness, having a guide. And when you only value yourself for superficial stuff, you're going to go insane when you start to age. So,
well, and norepinephrine around 40, if you are in this and this is resonating with you and you've gone to the doctor and you're like, what the fuck, am I losing my sex drive? Like, my sex drive is gone. That's usually a number one indicator that you are burnout. Like, if you lose your sex drive, you're, as a woman, like, headed into menopause years because testosterone levels should be rising. That's a good indicator that you're in a trauma response. You don't feel safe in your environment. Your body is starting to break down. You're losing your sensuality, which is like really dangerous game for women to lose that. And yes, like Megan said, our outside world is like telling you have to stay young forever, but it's really the energetic aspect. And when sensuality is a part of that feminine energy, and when you aren't coping correctly and you aren't using your communication skills, or you don't have any communication skills, and you've just pretty much been in survival mode your whole life, this is really when the body starts to manifest that, and you start to actually see like German new medicine come to light.
Well, that's when you start to pay the price.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because our society right now, like, doctors won't tell you that. They'll just send you out for a whole bunch of tests and this and that, and it's really... it breaks down to, are you in your feminine? Are you honoring your feminine? And we work so much. This is one part of our work that we've seen massive change in, where like psilocybin has helped so many women come out of that norepinephrine fight or flight and be able to drop into their feminine. And they've never been in their feminine their whole fucking lives. And they're like, what am I doing? Like, this is amazing. I feel great. And they're like, oh, it's the psilocybin. No, it's being able to understand where it is. The psilocybin allows for the brain to shift because it's working in that neuroplasticity, with us being able to guide you into your feminine and understand what feminine looks like, so that then you're able to actually undo this norepinephrine. You're able to override the fight or flight programming in your brain, and you're actually able to this is no longer a death sentence, because quite frankly, like Meg said earlier with the cancers, it becomes a death sentence. It becomes the price.
Yeah, I mean, the price and price, with communication, with life, like everything has a price, and if you're firing on all cylinders and burning the candle at both ends, it's going to burn out. And, you see that a lot around age 40. It may not be right at 40, but it'll be right around there where you really start to see a shift in women And our job is either to prevent it or to help people that are already in it, because it is reversible, right? You know, a lot of people go to the doctor and get on an SSNRI, which is a norepinephrine blocker and things like that. And, you know, again, there are other ways. I'm not saying, you know, don't do that if you're in this. If you gotta do what you gotta do. But I'm just saying, like, there are ways to heal. There are ways to, because this is where Nicole and I were headed. You know, this was the majority of the baby boomer generation.
We were on the train. Toot,
yeah.
toot.
You know, the majority of the baby boomer generation are norepinephrine addicts. You see these women like in their 60s, they're just completely nutty. They're mean to their husbands. They're just aggressive women.
Well, and everyone's out for them.
Yeah.
Like every conversation, well, that person, blah, blah, blah. That person, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, whoa, like the pain, you can hear it in their voices.
Well, it's just suffering. You know, everybody has pain, and it's how we deal with pain. And if you don't have a good coping mechanism for pain, then you're going to be in norepinephrine. Like if you're fighting pain and trying to avoid it, you're going to go into norepinephrine. You're in suffering, you know, and, you know, it's really when the bill has to be paid. So, you know, this is a big thing, and it's not talked about. You know, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, wow, this makes total sense. It's like midlife crisis. Men go through andropause and buy a dick car, and women go into norepinephrine and go completely
hate their husbands and
nutty.
Yell at them for buying
they, like,
a dick
divorce their husband and start dating a Peter Pan, or, you know, they get breast cancer or whatever. You know, when a woman's not in her feminine, she blocks her heart chakra. And that's why breast cancer is so prominent in our culture today, is like there's so much blocks. Remember that the feminine is the essence of love. So if you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else. You're blocking love. So if you're selfless as a woman, you're that's a problem.
Well, and I honestly, this is not fact-based. The 40 is based on science. Like
that's the brain.
Yeah, the brain. I actually think it's getting earlier and earlier, because we're starting to see more and more women in their masculine. Like more and more women are getting breast cancer early and earlier. You're hearing it more and more.
I didn't know that.
You know, I mean, I just think about your one girlfriend. She was, what, 30?
So that's not norepinephrine. That's birth control.
Oh, that was birth control. That's right. But
that's estrogen in our food supply.
I feel like it's almost like every couple days I'm seeing something on social media.
Well, you got sugar,
the age
too.
is just getting...
Well, mix norepinephrine with sugar, with estrogen.
Yeah.
Birth control with,
it's just getting,
you know,
younger and younger and younger. I mean, it's wild what culturally we're doing to just the nervous system of women.
So I wouldn't say that that's not scientific. That is scientific, but that it's not norepinephrine. I mean, it's probably a mix of norepinephrine, but that's
that's
outliers.
a cocktail. But after 40 is norepinephrine. Before that, I wonder if there is some something else that's happening. It's more cocktail probably based. But anyways,
get off birth control.
Get off birth control.
Get off birth control.
Get into your feminine.
Find a man that pleasure strokes you. Have some good sex with a man that you're in a relationship with. Keep the oxytocin flowing.
Communicate from your damn feelings.
Communicate from your feelings.
Don't drink
not your brain.
Verbal mouth diarrhea.
Oh,
and do just
if you're questioning if you're one of these women,
then you probably are.
Like, if you're always like, I think, and you go, how do you feel? I think. You're one of these women. If you cannot communicate from your feelings, if somebody asks you a question and you say, I think, instead of I feel, you are in your masculine.
Well, and even the best way to look at it is look at how you respond to people in text messages. That's one reason. That's one way I call myself, is being like, how you write is what you're thinking, is what energy you're in, how you're responding to people.
Wait, elaborate on that, because you said how you text, but you didn't elaborate on that.
I think.
Oh.
Explain.
Oh, because it's written out.
I feel, I explain, because it's written out, and that's where your brain is, and that's where you're at, because it's subconscious.
Gotcha. You're
not actually, you have to consciously be like, oh, wait, I need to change my word patternings. Even, when we get client text messages, and we have women texting us, I think, and I'm like, girl, thinking is masculine, but how many times do we have to say that until we get to the landing board? A lot. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. We change your wording. We change your brain. We pretty much help you step into your feminine, and we help men step into their masculine. But if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. We're still babies, so we're working on it. We're little over a month old on YouTube. But every little subscribe, comment, and like, share helps us tremendously over there. Even just viewing us over there helps us. If you are watching us, or excuse me, if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, like, share, comment, rate the show, because it also helps us. And if you want to hear anything or us elaborate on anything, you can comment or you can message us at synchronicity_sisters. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.